Previously on Dragon Ball Kakumei, after Goku has an extremely intense fight against Beerus, he is once again defeated by the God of Destruction. He then discovers a strange event that has just happened in Universe 7 that is worrying even Whis. The appearance of a place called Universe 0. Goku asks the angel for permission to investigate, a permission he gives, but very reluctantly. Whis is then summoned to a meeting at the Grand Priest's palace, where he and all the angels discover that thanks to Android 17's request at the end of the Tournament of Power, the other universes that disappeared before the tournament have also been restored, including a secret universe whose existence Daishinkan hid from all of them, called Universe 0. At this meeting, a woman appears who was presented as being the mother of the angels, and this woman accuses the Grand Priest of very serious and malicious acts. Then another very mysterious being arrives at the Daishinkan's palace, beings that are dressed as angels and gods of destruction. What will happen now? Who are these angels and gods of destruction? What is the mother of angels intending to do? And what will Goku discover in his investigation in the place called Universe 0? Find out now. After exposing the Daishinkan's great act of betrayal to her children, the angel's mother says that she doesn't blame their father or Zeno for it. She says that what they really blame is the system that made the Grand Priest act. At that moment, other beings begin to arrive at that place, and these beings are simply angels and gods of destruction that we have never seen before. As they arrive, they make some comment. One of them says this is ironic, but it's funny. Another thanks Kansei for taking the pressure off them. Another comments that it is a strange feeling to return to that place. And another says that there are faces there that are more than familiar. And just an observation, from the comment of one of them, the mother of the angels is called Kansei. And as Chapter 2 of the story is called Kansei and Kaishi, we can deduce that the name of Daishinkan in this story is Kaishi, remembering that Daishinkan is not a proper name, but rather the name of the Grand Priest's position. Kulsu recognizes these people with great surprise, and Whis expresses her surprise in words, revealing that these beings are the angels and gods of destruction of the destroyed universes. One of those who just arrived says that Whis is as sharp as ever. Another person says, Riley, that he hopes they didn't miss them too much. And another of them, who seems to have a somewhat megalomaniac behavior, orders them to behave and kneel. At this moment, the names of these gods and angels and the universes to which they belong are revealed. Balkan and Galen are respectively the angel and the god of destruction of Universe 13. The angel Galen greets them saying that it has been a long time. Traumel and Zeres are the god and angel of Universe 14. The angel Zeres, with a demeanor that is both polite and ironic, says it is good to see them again. From Universe 15, the god of destruction, Valspring, and the angel Milada. Valspring, who seems a little eccentric, starts laughing and says that he feels like he slept more than that damp Beerus. The god and angel of Universe 16 are Magnac and Remtal. Magnac, who seems to enjoy a good fight, notes that no one has been hurt yet, which means they arrived on time and the party hasn't started yet. In Universe 17, the god of destruction is Nisos. The angel is Olorus. The angel of this universe seems to be freaked out type, and he is simply furious, calling for Whis. The god Nisos seems to be the more rational type and tells Olorus to stay calm. And another interesting thing is that Nisos has an appearance that is a bit reminiscent of the Supreme Kai. Perhaps there is a story behind that. Vados then notices that there is another very peculiar figure there. At that moment, we see a person arrive who has a very familiar laugh and golden feet. That someone is simply Frieza. And dressed as a god of destruction, he greets everyone with the usual sarcasm, telling Whis that he wanted to thank him personally. Turns out that Frieza is now the god of destruction of Universe 18. His angel is a woman called Twist, who criticizes the neutrality of angels, saying that it leads them to this type of situation. Whis tells Frieza that he thinks he understands what the villain is trying to do. He explains that when he brought Frieza back to life, he already anticipated that Frieza wouldn't simply do nothing. But it still surprises even Whis how far Frieza is willing to go. Frieza tells Whis not to underestimate him, and makes it clear that this is just a foretaste of what's to come. Frieza says that thanks to Zeno, his army commanders reported the new universes had appeared. He comments that it's surprising that Zeno needed to destroy Universe 18 since their god of destruction was a miserable. According to Twist, he wasn't in line with the behavior of his universe, and he didn't seem like the revolutionary type. Frieza fired a shot at the God of Destruction of Universe 18 from behind, but only grazed him. He sarcastically says he missed and asks the God of Destruction for forgiveness. But at that moment, the Destroyer feels something, and that's when he realizes that his body is full of holes, while Frieza reveals that he obviously shoots better with his left hand. Beating the Destroyer more, Frieza tells him to vomit a little more, and comments that the outfit is a little tight on him anyway, and someone needs to fix that. While remembering lifting the Destroyer by the neck with his tail, Frieza comments that his helplessness was disconcerting, and that he wonders how someone like that could have become a God of Destruction. But in the end, he says that it doesn't matter, and that none of this is Whis' business. Whis says he doesn't understand why Frieza gets to this point. However, Frieza is right in saying that it's none of his business. Frieza asks if Whis regrets resurrecting him. Whis doesn't respond directly. He just says that Frieza isn't aware of what he's getting himself into, but that he's at his own risk. He only asks Frieza to inform him of Goku's whereabouts. Daishinkan is surprised by this question from Whis and asks what Frieza has to do with Goku. Whis says that before Daishinkan called, he went to Universe Zero with Goku and agreed to let him investigate further. The problem is that he has lost contact with Goku, and he is not using the button he was given to call the Angel in case of an emergency. To make matters worse, Whis cannot find Goku thanks to the extremely condensed aura that forms Universe Zero. Nysos, the God of Destruction of Universe 17, asks if Whis is referring to the mortal who came screaming like a donkey to their headquarters. He tells Whis not to worry and assures that they received him properly. Daishinkan is very intrigued by this, wondering why they are keeping Goku prisoner, since he is no threat to them. He wonders if Goku has any sensitive information. Noticing his doubts, Kansei tells Kaishi not to act ignorant, and that he knows exactly why they are using Goku. At this exact moment, Goku is completely trapped by chains and has several things similar to nails stuck in his body. He's bleeding a lot, and it looks like he's in a lot of pain. Goku shouts, telling these cowards to go back, and asks what they want with him. Then, with his head down and with a completely defeated posture, he apologizes to Whis. Goku is trapped in a very dark place, and the way he's been chained up, it seems like he has no chance of escaping. Daishinkan asks the invaders what their demands are. Magnak, Universe 16's God of Destruction, says they want the abolition of the divine hierarchy and the removal of the neutrality that the Father of Angels is so obsessed with. He makes this demand at the same time that he hits the Grand Priest's throne with his tail in an act of provocation, causing the throne to fall to the ground. Kusu screams worried about her father. Daishinkan, on the other hand, remains calm and tells her to calm down. At the same time that Daishinkan tells his daughter not to panic, Veilspring, the God of Destruction of Universe 15, begins to surround him at a very high speed, saying that his mentality blocks him. He says that it was this hierarchy that, in the Tournament of Power, erased the gods, but not the angels, and then asks Daishinkan how he can consider himself a guide even though he knows this. And somehow Daishinkan seems a little affected by this issue. Dromel, the God of Universe 14, says it's time to end the games and make things happen. Daishinkan asks Dromel what they are going to do, or rather what they can do. The one who responds is Kansei, who, placing her foot on the overturned throne of Daishinkan, warns that a war between deities on the multiversal scale is about to begin. Every individual, mortal or not, must choose a side, and only one will remain. They will fight for a new world with a perfect balance. But at that moment, Daishinkan attacks. He raises both hands at the same time, appearing to make a great effort and conjuring the name of a spell or technique. From one moment to the next, all those gods and angels are completely frozen. As the Grand Priest finishes the name of the spell or technique, his nose begins to pour blood, and he looks very exhausted from what he just did. He falls to his knees, bleeding considerably. Kusu calls for her father and goes to him. She asks if everything is okay, and he tells her not to worry. Kusu asks what the Daishinkan did to them. He responds that he froze them all in space-time. However, this isn't over yet. They need to teleport all these guys to Universe Zero and freeze that universe too. Kusu asks if this won't be dangerous for his health, but Daishinkan tells her not to be ridiculous. Whis calls Cookatail to help him gather all the Supreme Kais and Kibito. 13 of them should be enough. Whis and Cookatail manage to bring them all together. Cookatail welcomes everyone very politely, says that Whis has already summarized the situation, and asks if they think they are capable of doing this. One of the Supreme Kais seems very reluctant. Kibito responds by saying that it won't be an easy task, but since they are 13, they will be successful. Whis tells them to skip the formalities and do what needs to be done. Daishinkan wipes the blood running from his nose, ordering them to continue. On Earth in Universe 7, Videl and Chi-Chi take food to the others, while 18 offers to help. Chi-Chi is very worried, looking at the sky. Videl notices this. Chi-Chi goes inside the Capsule Corporation. Gulton, who was also there, asks how his mother is, and Videl replies that she's not sure. She goes after her mother-in-law and asks if Chi-Chi is okay. Chi-Chi says yes, but the fact that she is drying her own tears contradicts that. Videl comforts her by saying that Goku is just late, and that she knows how he is. Chi-Chi forces herself to smile and agree. In the bathroom, someone adjusts a tie around the neck, looking in the mirror. That someone is Gohan, who finishes fixing his tie and looking at himself for a while. Then he finishes putting on his suit and goes outside, receiving sunlight on his face and commenting on the beauty of the sky. In the end, it looks like Gohan gave up on the tie. He asks Videl about his father, who's currently gently stroking Goten. Behind them is Piccolo, silent as always. He's watching Bulma run furiously after Trunks, who was playing with the dog instead of going to the table. And the two of them were also being watched by Krillin and Android 18. After asking about his father, Gohan realizes that Chi-Chi is a bit crestfallen because of him, and so decides to change the subject and calls everyone to eat. But suddenly he and Piccolo notice something in the sky. On a planet called Zaurus in Universe 11, Jiren is holding onto a very peculiar creature that looks like a cross between a dinosaur and a chicken. He puts a net in the animal's mouth and then punches the monster, which is thrown away by his force. When Jiren lands, he notices something, and as the monster lies passed out behind him, the Grey Warrior looks up at the sky. In Universe 6 on a planet called Geno, Hit is walking through a crowd. He fixes his gaze on a guy who is also in the crowd, certainly a target of the assassin. He uses his time skip, freezing time to shatter his target's heart with an attack from behind. And then when time returns to normal, the man falls dead, and no one around understands why. But there's something else that catches the attention of Hit and the others. That thing is in the sky. On planet Sadala, Caulifla is undergoing intense push-up training, already reaching a number close to 20,000, even using just one arm. She's being watched by Kale, and Kaba has just arrived to talk to her. Kaba greets Caulifla, who ignores him. Then he greets Kale, who responds at the same time as Caulifla finally hits the 20,000 push-up mark. Caulifla asks what Kaba is doing there. He was about to answer when suddenly his attention was completely stolen when he looked at the sky and he asked what that was. Caulifla asks what he's talking about. He points to the sky, telling her to look, and asks what that ball is. She looks very quickly and responds nonchalantly that she has no idea. She tells Kale to look, warning that there is a ball in the sky. Kale says that's weird, and she's about to say something when a voice catches their attention, telling everyone to listen. At that moment, a speech in the form of a warning begins. I am the Grand Priest of the Multiverse, and I come to bring you the direct orders of the one you call God. I speak to all forms of life present in this world. An evil angel rebelled against me, and I froze her for a period of 2 years. A war between universes will begin when this delay ends. Every individual must be prepared and choose a side. Everyone, when they hear this, is surprised and confused. Caulifla receives this news with some concern. Toppo, through a communicator, asks if Jiren also saw this, and he replies yes. 18 lets a plate fall from her hand at the same time that Krillin expresses his shock and asks to wait. Vegeta appears to have just arrived at Capsule Corporation, asking if they heard that. Trunks says yes. Gulton asks Vegeta if his father isn't with him. Vegeta says no and asks if he's not on Earth. This makes Chi-Chi's suffering worse, and Gulton becomes worried about her. In fact, Goku will take a while to arrive, and he is completely frozen in Universe 0. Chapter 3. Stand clear for departure. After everyone receives that warning from the Grand Priest, Bulma becomes very thoughtful, commenting that they will have to organize themselves. Vegeta, who is changing his clothes, agrees with her and says that everyone will need to find a main goal for themselves. In fact, they need to find this Brawly guy, as he has great potential and can be useful. Vegeta asks if she can get him and his all-green and all-orange friends. Bulma tells him that they have names. Vegeta says that in the meantime he's going to take Gohan, Goten, and Trunks to see Whis. Piccolo is meditating near a waterfall, apparently very concentrated. Suddenly, his attention is drawn to something. He notices someone arriving and asks if he can help. Jocko is in the middle of a call with Bulma, who is yelling at him over the phone, telling Jocko to stop making excuses that he's busy, stop being selfish, and go get her at once. Jocko ends up agreeing and realizing that he embarrassed himself in front of a fellow patrolman, says that she just wants him to go find someone, and he can do a favor for a friend. The other patrolman doesn't even argue, just says he didn't say anything. From her house, Bulma is still complaining about Jaco, yelling at herself, saying that even when a war is about to happen, he finds a way not to do what she asks, and that it doesn't hurt to do that for a friend. Vegeta watches his wife freak out while holding Bulma, commenting that when she gets angry, not even the greatest warrior can stop her. Vegeta leaves, leaving Bulma to scream alone, promising that she will tear Jaco's eyes out when he gets there. But Bulma seems to want to stay there, even with her mother yelling like that. She starts crying in protest when Vegeta closes the door. Vegeta comments that he wishes the bad mood was just on the inside. Gohan, who was at the table with Videl, calls Vegeta and comments that it looks like there's a lot going on inside. Videl goes to him and offers to take care of Bulma. Vegeta allows it. He calls Gohan and goes to him asking what Goku's son intends to do in these 2 years, train or study. Gohan says he will do both. Vegeta says that, in that case, he has a suggestion to propose. Vegeta suggests that Gohan go train with Whis. He says that Kakarot is doing his last training with the Angel, and that knowing both of them, they would be happy to receive Gohan. Trunks and Gohan have already agreed to go. Gohan takes a sip of what he's drinking and then responds that he's not going because he already has plans about what to do in the next 2 years. About Goten and Trunks, Gohan says that Goku once told him about something similar to a time chamber. Vegeta says he'll take care of Goten and Trunks and asks if Gohan can go see Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien. He asks if Gohan has any ideas about what they can do, and he says yes. He found something for them to do. Gohan flies to Krillin's house, flying over the city that was destroyed by the weather anomalies caused by Goku and Beerus' fight earlier. When Gohan arrives, Krillin and 18 are playing with Marin. Krillin asks how Gohan is. Gohan responds that he's fine and asks if Krillin knows where Yamcha and Tien are. Krillin says that luckily they are inside. Gohan says he already knows what kind of training they will do in these 2 years, but with a somewhat embarrassed smile, Krillin tells Gohan to calm down. Gohan receives a call, and when he answers, Vegeta says that he is with Whis, who just revealed that Goku was in Universe 0 when Daishinkan froze it. When this news is given, everyone who hears it is completely shocked. A silence falls and Vegeta calls out to Gohan, asking if he heard what he just said. Piccolo is meditating, ignoring someone who is talking to him. Those who speak to him are Saunel and Polina, the Namekians from Universe 6, accompanied by the Supreme Kai of that universe. Saunel says they believe they should join forces over the next 2 years. Piccolo asks if they really think he can help. Polina responds that they think everyone can do something to help. Taking off his turban in what appears to be an act of respect or greeting, Piccolo decides to collaborate with them, but warns that he needs to do something first. On planet Vampa, a spaceship has just arrived, being observed by Broly, Chi-Lai, and Limo. When the ship's doors open, Chi-Lai already seems to know who it is, and greets Bulma. Bulma seems happy to see them, even calling them her favorite aliens. When Bulma looks at Broly, she is surprised, and says she didn't know he was so tall. Chi-Lai seems to lose her good mood in an instant, and asks what Bulma wants from them. Bulma asks if they saw that ball in the sky. Limo says if she also had that strange dream. Bulma is a little confused when he says this, and says that it wasn't a dream, but a message from the Grand Priest. Limo insists on it, explaining that the three of them had a collective dream about what she just mentioned. Bulma finds this strange. Thinking better, she finally understands and concludes that they were certainly sleeping when Daishinkan made that announcement. And since many other people in the multiverse were sleeping at that moment, this was the way he found to convey the message to everyone. The others are stunned when they hear this, and Chi-Lai asks if that was really real and if there really is a war on the horizon. Bulma receives a call. It's Whis, who warns that he has bad news to share. When she receives the news, Bulma is shocked, not believing what she is hearing. Talking to the others at Krillin's house, Gohan says that even without their father, they have a role to play, and that he knows what kind of training will help them. Krillin, a little saddened, says that he understands Gohan, but he couldn't do anything during the Tournament of Power even when facing enemies that weren't among the most powerful. So what could he do in a war that involves the most powerful deities? He'd like to give a big Goku-like speech, but he's not that kind of man. Master Roshi agrees with Krillin. He would like to fight. However, he has already been training for almost 350 years, and he doesn't see how he can improve any further than that. Krillin adds that this is not the noblest way of thinking, but he belongs there with his family, especially his daughter. Gohan doesn't like hearing this at all, and remembers that for years Goku protected them and gave his life without hesitation for the weak. If Krillin wants to stay with his people, so be it, but billions of millions of people need their help. These words seem to hurt Krillin a lot, cutting deeply into his soul. Yamcha says that since he doesn't have a family to protect, he will be part of this. Tien says it's the same thing with him. Android 18 gets up and calls Krillin to talk. They leave everyone in the living room to go to the bedroom. 18 says she knows that Krillin wants their good above all else. But this isn't just about their lives. Krillin says he knows this, although he still remains reluctant. 18 says she will support him regardless of the choice he makes. If he wants to fight, she will fight him. If he wants to stay, she will stay too. Krillin swallows hard, clearly with a lot of doubt in his mind. At Capsule Corporation, Trunks is saying goodbye to his little sister. Not knowing much of what to say, he just says that he knows 2 years is like her entire life, but he promises that he will try to come back as soon as possible. He tells his sister to grow up and become a strong little princess. Vegeta calls out to Trunks, saying that this is enough. He picks up Bulla and tells Trunks to go to the travel cube. He looks at the door waiting for everyone to leave, and when he is alone with his daughter, he tells her not to worry and that Daddy will be back. Someone is arriving there with the car engine roaring. The person who gets out of the car is Dr. Briefs, who is thanked by Vegeta for taking care of Bulla. He says it's natural since she's his granddaughter, and it's not like he has anything else more exciting to do. Vegeta puts his hand on Trunks' head, watching him give his sister one last hug, to finally enter the cube, saying that Gohan and the others shouldn't be long. And they really won't take long. Ready to leave, Gohan, Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha leave Krillin's house, watched by Android 18, Marin, and Master Roshi. Interestingly, the one leading the group is Krillin, who, in complete contrast to the insecure guy from before, calls everyone to enter that cube, saying that they will give everything they have. Master Roshi takes off his glasses, a sign of respect for them. 18 watches their departure with a smile, and Marin says goodbye with joy and motivation. Gohan shows a certain pride, probably especially for Krillin. They fly away with confidence and land at their destination. Already in the cube, Vegeta, Goten, and Trunks take a look at those who have just arrived. Whis also watches them with a smile. Gohan, Krillin, Tien, Yamcha show great motivation in their expression, not needing any words to make it clear that they are ready for what is to come. They then walk towards the cube, ready to join their friends and embark on this journey towards empowerment. Whis asks if everyone is there and what the itinerary is. Gohan replies that yes, everyone has already arrived, and says that their first destination is Universe 9. Vegeta didn't expect this, and asks if he has any ideas related to this universe. Gohan says yes, and explains that Krillin, Yamcha, and Tien will stay in Universe 9 to meet the trio of danger. He hasn't spoken to them yet, but he's sure they'll accept it. Krillin is a little intrigued, asking if this is serious. Gohan says yes, saying that they are strong and would have made Cell or Majin Buu mincemeat. Yamcha asks if they are the 3 foxes that Tien mentioned to him. Gohan confirmed. Yamcha then puts a confident smile on his face and says that he is not impressed with this dangerous trio of K9, guaranteeing that he could deal with them alone. Tien finds this funny and warns Yamcha not to go that far. Krillin also thinks it's funny, and Gohan says they'll see that later. Yamcha remains confident, saying that he will make them beg for their lives. With everyone already on board, Whis begins to take flight with the cube, with Dr. Briefs watching, holding Bulla in his lap. Trunks says goodbye to his grandfather and also to his sister. They say goodbye too. Finally, the cube leaves Earth, gaining extraordinary speed in a very short time. With Goku frozen in space-time trapped in Universe 0, the other warriors have no choice but to begin their own training journeys to protect the universe without him. Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha go to Universe 9 to train with the trio of dangers. Goten and Trunks will be trained by Whis. Bulma went after Broly and his friends, and Gohan and Vegeta's plan remain a mystery. What training methods will our warriors use to strengthen themselves for this war? What will their journey be like? Find out in the next chapters of Dragon Ball Kakumei. Well guys, this was part 2 of Dragon Ball Kakumei here on the channel. Now that Goku is frozen in Universe 0, we will see the story unfold, showing the training journey of the other warriors, which is a very interesting premise, as it changes the focus of the Dragon Ball story a little and shows us the other characters in the franchise who are very interested and don't always receive the attention they deserve. Seeing more of Dragon Ball's secondary characters is a desire that fans of the franchise have always had, since in Dragon Ball Super they were largely erased from the story and the biggest highlight was on Goku and Vegeta. Of course, this has changed, especially if we consider the Tournament of Power, the Moro arc, and the Superhero arc. But it's good to remember that the story of Dragon Ball Kakumei takes place after the events of the Broly movie, and until that moment, the secondary characters had not received much attention, excluding the Tournament of Power. One interesting thing is that these older characters in the franchise have a greater variety of skills, and it will be really cool to see them, perhaps using and improving these skills. It would also be interesting to see these characters achieve new techniques and transformations. For example, what would a transformation of Tien and Yamcha be like? We saw Piccolo get 2 new transformations in the superhero arc, but Dragon Ball Kakumei started before that. So maybe we'll see Piccolo have an original transformation in the story, or get the superhero arc transformations in another way. Gohan also had his potential best explored in the superhero arc, but as Dragon Ball Kakumei started before that, he may have other transformations in the story. And of course, we will finally see Goten and Trunks' potential being better explored, something that Dragon Ball fans have wanted to see since the beginning of Dragon Ball Super. The Dragon Ball Super manga recently gave these two more prominence again, but for now, they haven't had a major evolution yet, so maybe we'll see this happen first in Dragon Ball Kakumei. Anyway, I'm really curious to see the path that each one will follow and how they will evolve. And you? Do you want to know too? If you want to see more of Dragon Ball Kakumei here on the channel, leave a like on the video so we know you're enjoying the story. Also subscribe to the channel to receive more content from Dragon Ball Kakumei and the other stories we bring here. And share this video with your friends who are Dragon Ball fans so more people can get to know our work and also Dragon Ball Kakumei. Thank you very much to all of you who do this. You are the true Saiyans of this channel. A big hug to all of you, and I'll see you in the next video.